Welcome to another edition of Timeless Sports. My name is Aaron Brady, and we're welcoming you to our Victory Place studio in Dallas. Today's debate is one of the most, probably hotly contested debates on any sports network that you might watch. The debate is top 5 NBA players all time. Any generation, any era, any decade, top 5. So we're going to debate that today. But before we do that, let's meet the team. Kyle Stark, Ronnie Gallant, the Ron Dog, Parker Smith.
Let's get it going.
Okay, Parker, why don't you kick us off here? Top 5 NBA players of all time. Who's on your top 5? Or I guess, what was the T-Mobile thing? Who's in your Fave 5? Yeah. This is the old commercial there. So Parker, who's in your Fave 5?
My Fave 5. So I picked people that I thought were honestly really, really good, but also people that I would like. This is the people I'd want to build my franchise, and even just people I'd want to be looking up to in the game. And so I picked number 5 was Tim Duncan. I just think the legacy of Tim Duncan that he left with the Spurs and the stability he left, going to the playoffs every single season of his career, is just astounding. And not to count the number of times he was champion as well. Being the cornerstone and having just that, the stability of the Spurs, I think in a lot of ways, should be attributed to Tim Duncan over Greg Popovich. And so I think that they're kind of like the same side of the coin. I think Greg Popovich definitely had some, but he even admits Tim Duncan is what kind of made this stability of the Spurs organization that's been so successful for 2 decades. And so he's my number 5. My number 4 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And so just Kareem the Dream. Do I need to say any more? Also just what is the iconic shot he always does?
Sky hook.
The sky hook. I mean, unblockable shot. And out of the first of the unblockable shots that I even know of. And so this is before Dirk Nowitzki, before the step back that James Harden used. Like, this is the first unblockable shot. And so just think that was amazing. Great rebounder. And number 3, I got to go with Bill Russell, the champion himself. I mean, how many years in a row did he win a championship? It was like 11?
Yeah.
I know he won 11 out of like 12 years or something like that. Some ridiculous stat like that. Just the ultimate winner. And then number 2 is the offensive mastermind and the basketball mastermind, Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, had over 100 points in a game. Like, who does that? And you look at averages for a game, like his triple doubles and everything. They blow Russell Westbrook out of the water, averaging like over 40 points a game in a season. Like, who does that? And so Wilt Chamberlain's my number 2. And then number 1, I got to go with the GOAT. Not LeBron, but Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yes.
And just 6-0 in the finals. Absolutely amazing. Made all of his teammates better. Played against really good competition and still won. And so it wasn't an easy cakewalk. It wasn't like the East is nowadays. They actually had to play against really good competitions to get to the finals. And then he also went 6-0. And even, I would say, he even took some of his prime out by even retiring because he got bored of being just the best all around.
Is that what happened?
That is what happened. He got tired of playing basketball. He's like, it's too easy. I need a challenge. And that's what the ultimate competitor does. And so, next we'll see what Kyle says about his top 5.
Well, guys, my top 5, it wasn't insanely hard to put together. Number 5, I've got coming in at Tim Duncan. Love seeing the way he dominated. As soon as he stepped on the scene, getting drafted out of Wake Forest, he comes in and he just starts dominating. Not only does he dominate, but he's so incredibly consistent. Okay? He's a leader. The way that he works on and off the court, the way that he just learned how to work with his teammates, and how this developed the franchise that just built that 20 years of just consistent playoff baseball was built off of him.
I will say he was a no drama guy.
No
drama.
And there's just, if I was a coach, he's the one person I'd want to coach, and because he's just no drama, comes to work, very humble, quiet, but that strong leadership. And so
we talk about iconic shots too. You knew if Timmy off the glass, that was going in.
He loved that spot on the wing.
Number 4, I got Magic Johnson. And this guy, I mean, he handled the ball. I mean, he was, I don't know, probably before time as far as kind of a taller point guard was. I mean, the guy was 6'8", 6'9", and dribbled the ball and dished it and just knew how to get the ball in the right people's hands. I mean, he was a general, and he was respected by everyone in the organization as soon as he stepped on the court. As soon as he arrived in LA, I mean, he knew what he was doing. Number 3, I've got Kareem. Again, a lot of what Parker talked about from Kareem, just the kind of legacy and how he built a lot of things early on, was able to score and really work a lot of magic. He was just a championship guy. Number 2, I actually have MJ. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Now, I will tell you this, you know, I understand the greatness of Michael Jordan, the championships, and that's why he's there for me. Living in the Michael Jordan era, I didn't really spend a lot of time watching him play.
There's YouTube for that.
Yeah, there's YouTube. But so my number 1 is LeBron. I'll talk a little bit about that. Okay.
Agree.
So my number 1 is LeBron, hands down. Now, first of all, I grew up watching him, and the guy's amazing. He's been there like when I started watching basketball and seeing this amazing, crazy, tall, thick guy that's 250 that's sprinting down faster than as much as anybody else, and man, the guy's a machine. How he takes care of his body, how he does the not-profit stuff, but just as a basketball player, everybody wants to know, listen, you can go to, LeBron, first of all, has been to more finals than MJ made it to, so he made it further more times than MJ. He did not win as many finals, but he did make it there, which says a lot to how he leads the team. Now, the other thing I looked at, I just kind of looking at a couple different notes. I looked at some of the stats that they had for their career. You look at 3-point percentage. LeBron has a better 3-point percentage for his career.
What about free throw percentage?
I don't know. I didn't look at free throw percentage.
About 10% worse than MJ.
You look at more rebounds per game, more assists per game. Steals was exactly the same. So. But it was just interesting to kind of look at that, a lot of things. So again, you're looking at percentages as far as how efficient they are when they're shooting. LeBron had him a little bit more on that, and then assists and rebounds. What's he doing? Getting rid of the ball, helping his team out, getting rebounds. He won in both those categories as well as far as career stats so far. So that's where it is. Hey, again, I didn't grow up watching MJ and seeing the greatness of what it was, but I did see LeBron and his magnificent, godlike body storming up and down the court and blocking balls off the backboard in the middle of finals games and making crazy shots. I mean, it's just seeing that and seeing it firsthand is definitely elevates him for me.
There's just a few. I mean, I think honestly, you are right, Kyle. He was the first big baby to come up and down the court. He was the biggest baby to probably ever come up and down and play in the NBA that I know of, the LaFlop of them all. And I mean, I don't know I guess the last time he played defense was that block in 2016. And so, I mean, defense has never been something he's like, I'm cared about. He's like, okay, I'll try to play maybe if I make it to the finals or in the finals, I'll see if I can start playing some. But, I mean, it's just really hard for me to a guy that gets bailed out time in and time again, the media favorite. He has a scapegoat for everything. So anytime it goes something wrong, which is why nobody wants to play with him even now. You look at Kawhi, he's like, I don't want to be your scapegoat because, I mean...
Yeah, but AD signed DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh, no, AD did not sign. And actually, even what's funny about AD is that he hasn't even, literally when they had an interview with him, he's like, I'm excited to play for the Lakers. We'll see what happens after this year for free agency. So he's not even committed to after this year to play for the Lakers.
But he's committed to going and playing with LeBron.
Because they have the same sports agent, which is another thing. Yeah, LeBron, that's another thing. That is another thing that he's a pioneer in getting the most help as you can and getting all-stars on your team. That is LeBron.
And still not doing anything with it half the time.
Yeah, creating a super team and leaving for a super team, that is LeBron's legacy.
That's not LeBron's legacy, that's KD's legacy.
Oh no, LeBron.
KD's not even anywhere
That's what I'm saying though.
Hey, don't talk about KD like that. He's the UT guy. He's on the injury return. Come on, guys.
He left to go to play with Golden State.
LeBron went to go play with Dwayne Wade, who's a Hall of Famer.
Going to play with Dwayne Wade is not the same as going and playing with Golden State at their championship.
Well, but we're not comparing. We're not saying that LeBron's like worse than Kevin Durant. We're just saying LeBron's worse than MJ for sure when it comes to that perspective.
Like I said, I saw LeBron, and then I just look at the stats, and I'm just like, those are facts.
But those are two different eras. 90s were defensive first.
And the 3-point was not as emphasized. But if we do want to have another debate about who's the most offensively gifted person, Kevin Durant's making that above in the top 5.
We have to do that at some point. Ronnie, who do you have? Top 5.
Top 5. So number 5, I guess every video we've done so far, I've had a little biased person in there. Number 5 is Larry Legend, Larry Bird.
Who you played for?
The Boston Celtics. I'm glad you asked. Kind of just another video we talked about was like a revolutionized game changer type player. Just brought everything. When he said he was going to do something to you, he then did it, and you could not stop him. Hey, whoever's guarding me, I'm going to shoot 3 threes over you in the next time I come down the court. Guess what he did? 3, 3, 3, and just nailed him every single time. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of things I've never thought of or seen before, number 4, Shaq. I've never seen a more physically dominant guy than Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, ever. Guy built like that. Literally you could say built like a house.
Yeah.
Just that big, 7'2", 280 pounds at the time. Magic Shaq was probably 280.
Yeah.
Lakers Shaq was like 300 plus.
Yeah.
325.
Just dominant.
Yeah.
Just dominant.
My one knock on Shaq is he was like a tank, like a house.
Yeah.
But he was so limited in what he could do. He was great in the paint. Get him outside of the paint, he can't even hit like the broadside of a barn from 6 feet away.
Well, that's what his position is for. That's why they play 5 different positions. It's not one position for everybody.
But I personally, I just prefer centers that have more versatility. Those centers that can get out there and knock down a jumper. For goodness sakes, like hit a free throw every once in a while. Like, you know. So he was very dominant, there's no doubt. But, you know, outside of the paint, he was actually very limited. Yeah.
And then you kind of talk about a big man that could do all is my number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Lou Alcindor, if you want to talk about his UCLA days. Just kind of like Parker said, the unblockable shot. That the sky hooker is another shot that people have tried to mesh into their games. You see, maybe it's not as much as a hook anymore, but it's like a, run and kind of floater now. Another offensive guru with the Sixers and then the Lakers. My number 2, which was, I debated this back and forth for a long time because kind of like as Kyle has presented the stats, really backed my number 2, and it's LeBron James. As a more well-rounded basketball player, LeBron is incredible. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like him again. I think we could have seen that in Magic saying he doesn't get sick. I think we see LeBron-esque in Magic. But number 1 is the cold-blooded assassin, Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Granted that I think there were times that you could say Michael had better teams in his, because everyone says in the debate is he has 6 rings. He's 6-0. But those years he had amazing teams, and did he play cakewalks out of the Western teams? Because the East teams were incredible. In contrast to LeBron's East, not great. So his road to the finals you could argue is more difficult. So I think that's what ultimately pushed the assassin in Michael Jordan is what pushed him to number 1 for me.
I'll wrap it up. I've got number 5, Wilt Chamberlain. 100 points in a game, unheard of. Kind of was the first, ambassador of the ABA and just kind of the NBA. Just kind of that whole era of offensive basketball, and just was so tall and could do so much, so versatile at that height. Number 4, Kareem. We've already talked a lot about him, but the sky hook, what he did with the Showtime Lakers there in the 80s when he joined up with Magic and the squad over there. They just were such a great team. Honestly, probably one of the best NBA teams ever assembled was that mid-80s group with Magic and Kareem both there. Speaking of Magic, he's my number 3. Just unbelievable. There's a reason why his nickname was Magic, and it's because he literally created magic on the floor. and what he could do with the ball, the court vision that he had, the way he's able to run the floor and just make the passes. He wasn't the best jump shooter in the world, but he more than made up for it with his court vision and what he was able to kind of orchestrate on the court. Number 2, Bill Russell. This is a proven champion year after year after year. Did a lot for the game, did a lot for Boston's legacy, and just meant so much to the game back then. And he's still one of those guys too. He still hangs around. He's still hung around the NBA circles. You kind of see him from time to time. You know, guys like him, or you see Dr. J sometimes around. You see Larry Bird, obviously, kind of in and out of different things. So, you know, MJ, you know, with him being with Charlotte. So you see some of these players, and Bill Russell's one of them, just guys that continue to have their face shown. I think that means something. Number 1, any debate, MJ. Just unbelievable talent. You know, he was the ultimate competitor. He was 6-0 in the finals. He did not have easy roads there. He had to fight Detroit and some pretty tough teams as he was. And he even, you know, played against the Magic teams, you know, early on in his career, those Lakers. And so, just to me, Michael Jordan did so much for the game. He paved the way for a guy like LeBron now, and you see what he's doing. To me, the biggest difference between an MJ and a LeBron is LeBron, like Ronnie said, is so well-rounded, but I would say he's very well-rounded offensively. He has court vision. He can pass like nobody else, and he can shoot and, you know, do these different things. But when it comes to defense, he takes it off half the time. He gets those key blocks, but apart from that, he has a tough time on defense. And so to me, Michael Jordan's easily not only my top 5, but my number 1. So those are our top 5 NBA players of all time, and that'll do it for today. If you liked the video, click that like button for us. You can also subscribe to see when we have videos posted in the future. Comment down below who you think should be in our top 5 NBA players list.